So, okay, the question is, how do the therapies that we employ here at the Axelrod Clinic, which are 100% natural, based on holistic medicine, we don't prescribe any pharmaceutical drugs, we don't prescribe any hormones per se, and how is it then that we are able to help people to balance their hormones, to overcome hormonal challenges and hormonal issues if we don't prescribe medicine or use hormones? Well, this answer is very multi-layered, and I don't want to get too far off into it. But what I want to do is give you a basic idea. I'm going to use a metaphor to help you understand this, and it's a very basic metaphor. It's very simple. Don't be fooled by the simplicity of this, because look, we've been doing this now since 2004. We've helped thousands and thousands of people to overcome all types of hormonal issues using 100% natural medicine. That would be supplements and dietary therapies, herbal medicines, and we do employ acupuncture as well, which is a very powerful regulator of the body's neuroendocrine circuitry, which I'm going to explain here in a minute. We also teach people and coach people, should they want to be incorporating it, mind-body type exercises, internal stress reduction techniques, which, look, at the end of the day, people who employ all four of these therapies in the synergistic combination that we use them in really do get the best results. Okay, that's the bottom line. But the question then is, how do these things all end up regulating the hormonal system? And the simple answer to this question is, number one, that the body has a very intelligent and very intricate and very sensitive internal regulatory system and framework for keeping the hormones in balance. And in order to understand how that works, it's really important for us to talk about what a hormone even is to begin with. I want you to think of the internet, okay? And if we think of the internet as a network of wires and, of course, over-the-air signals as well, because now, in fact, you may even be watching this on your phone right now, and there's obviously no wire attached, yet you're still receiving the signal of the video that I've recorded and placed somewhere for you to watch. Think of the internet, and then think of all the data that's traveling through the internet. That would be all the different colors and sounds and different things and that are transmitted from one device to another device, whether it's video, audio, whether it's text, whether it's all different types of content that are transmitted through this network and go from one place to the other, so that, for instance, if corporate headquarters says we need to roll out or we need to set this new process and this new thing so that all of our offices out in the field can do this specific task a certain way, they're going to send out the information. Maybe it's a memo, maybe it's a series of videos by different trainers, maybe it's all of the above, right? Emails, text messages, etc. All the communication that goes into making that happen in the front, the outlying offices that come from the central command. All of the data and information that leads to that change is being transmitted through this very powerful network we call the internet. Our bodies actually work pretty much the same way, okay? We have a network within our bodies. One of those networks is called the nervous system, right? We know that we have the brain, we have the spinal cord, we have all the nerves that go out into all of our tissue, right? And the nervous system is a very, very powerful regulator of the immune system, the reproductive system, the metabolic system, the the muscles, right? The circulatory, all the different systems you can think of. The nervous system has a very powerful role in regulating all of that. And guess what the substances are? The substances that actually provide the instructions and the commands and tell these different tissues what to do and when to do it is hormones, believe it or not. Hormones are like thermostats, they're like switches, they're like levers, and our body is continually in fact, right now as we speak, you have billions and billions of cells that are functioning all within a unified body that keeps us alive and allows us to do things like walk and talk and see and hear and eat and all these different things that we do every day, are all the result of all these different signals that are being transmitted through this little internet of our body, which one of the aspects of that is the nervous system. Another aspect is obviously the circulatory system, the blood, which carries these hormones around, right? So what happens in a nutshell is that one part of your body will pulse a hormone out, right? And that's because, like, let's say that there's, well, for instance, you eat food, right? And it enters into your stomach. And the stomach has this sensor or sensory framework that allows it to sense how much food is in it and all these kinds of things. And the stomach will then send signals through the nervous system to the brain. And those signals will tell the brain, hey, there's food here, get ready because we're going to need to start metabolizing the food. The central nervous system will then start pulsing out different hormones. And those hormones are designed to what? To tell, for instance, the pancreas, hey, secrete more protein enzymes to break down the proteins in the meats. Tell the liver, hey, start to get ready to break down some of these compounds and other things that are going to be coming in through the food. And different hormones that'll start to get the gut to start to move a little bit more easily and things like that. All of those signals are coming from a centralized place. Then they spread out into the body. And then what happens is, based on the response and how those parts of the body respond to those signals, right, they give feedback back to the command center, right? So the brain will listen and wait to hear what kind of feedback it gets from the different parts of the body that it is talking to, using hormones as, in essence, like the little emails or the text messages that are being sent out and telling these different parts of your body what to do. And if the brain is measuring and getting the feedback and it thinks that it's not getting the response it wants, it'll start secreting more hormones, right? If the brain gets the feedback and it says, oh, okay, so for instance, the simplest one would be insulin and sugar. When the blood sugar starts to rise, the brain picks up a signal and it starts to secrete insulin, right? Well, the brain doesn't. The brain tells the pancreas to start secreting insulin, right? That insulin goes out into the bloodstream, and what should happen is the blood sugar should decrease, right? And this is how intelligent your body is, that it's measuring all these things continuously and responding to them continuously. The insulin then starts to cause the cells to take the sugar in, meaning that it's no longer in the bloodstream. The brain's like, okay, cool, the blood sugar's good. We can tell the pancreas, no, we don't need any more insulin, right? But sometimes what happens is things get in the way. There's interference with those signals. And the interference takes the form of that the brain is telling the body, hey, we got sugar, start secreting insulin, and the insulin goes out, but then for some reason the body's not responding to the insulin. It doesn't hear the signal. It doesn't know, the cells don't know that the insulin is there, and they don't start taking in the sugar, right? So the sugar stays in the blood for too long. And not only that, but the brain thinking that, oh, maybe you didn't hear the message, right, starts telling the pancreas, keep secreting insulin, because obviously we're not getting the message. And so what happens then is that the body ends up with a whole lot of extra insulin and a whole lot of sugar in the blood and not a lot of response, right? So that leads to a whole other cascade of other effects that can be very detrimental, not only to our energy levels, but to our immune system, to our inflammatory system. Even, as we know, what I'm talking about is insulin resistance and possibly diabetes. And we know that diabetes causes all kinds of other complications with vision, with pain, with the healing response of the skin, and neuropathies and all these different things. And why is that? Because the signals start to get crossed, right? And now there's not a clear signal going through the body where the body always knows what it wants to do. The body always knows the baseline that it's trying to get to, and it always remembers how to heal itself. So it's always trying to do that. But if the signals aren't getting through clearly, it's just like if you had a firefighter on one end and you had the dispatcher on the other end, and the dispatcher's trying to tell the firefighter, hey, there's a fire down on 2nd Street. And the firefighter, though, can't hear the signal quite right and gets confused and goes to the wrong street, or calls in way more firefighters than are needed because the fire's actually not that big, but because of the fact that they can't hear the dispatcher, they don't know the real situation. And so they're just acting on unclear information. And that's what happens inside of our bodies. And so what we do at the clinic here is very simple. We just ensure, number one, that we detect and understand where the body is having difficulty, either A, producing the signal that it needs to produce, in other words, making the hormone that it needs to make, or B, receiving and understanding and interpreting the signal that it needs to interpret, which is potentially because something is blocked or something is in the way. So we look at where are there deficiencies and where are there things that are blocking. And how do we do that? Well, we don't really, in our methodology, by the way, we don't use a ton of expensive lab tests. We don't use a ton of these saliva tests and these other things that you hear about, because honestly, they don't really yield any data that is that useful. Because in our process, okay, what we do, we're not looking to, manipulate numbers. And a lot of people that we see actually have been to doctors, and even holistic doctors, who are so focused on the numbers, and they never really actually listen to the person and how's the person feeling and what's going on. And they're just really obsessed with trying to get these numbers to look a certain way. And the whole time the patient still doesn't feel well. We've seen this over and over. This may actually be your experience as well. So we actually just listen to people, and based on the things that they tell us about how they sleep, their appetite, their energy levels, how often they get sick or don't get sick, the way that their digestion is working and other things, just by listening to these parameters, we can come up with a very clear picture of which systems are in distress, which systems are becoming depleted, which systems are stuck in a certain phase of their function. And then based on that information, it's very easy for us to employ gentle but extremely effective therapies that are designed to what? Assist the body to do what it knows how to do in the first place. So this isn't about fixing the body per se, because the body really doesn't need to be fixed. It knows what to do and it knows how to fix itself. What we're doing at the Axelrod Clinic is we are listening and getting the data that we need, that we can hear what your body is trying to tell us, and then we're giving your body the things that it needs to fix itself. And we don't have to micromanage it in that way. And that's why we've had such great results. I mean, we've had hundreds of cases of endometriosis over the past decade plus, where people who have had, severe ongoing pelvic pain have had amazing results. Literally within weeks, they have no more pain. Their cycles normalize and things of this nature. Why? Because we're not trying to fix it. We are giving the body what it needs to fix itself, and the body is very efficient and very fast at doing that when it has what it needs. We've had tons of cases of thyroid where people are feeling fatigued, or people's hair's falling out, or they just can't lose weight, and they keep going back to their doctor, and the doctor says your numbers look fine, just keep taking the medicine, don't know what to do. And it's not because the doctor, they actually are doing the best they can, but the issue is that oftentimes with thyroid, especially almost always with thyroid, to be honest, there is always something else at the root of the problem. The thyroid ends up being kind of like the tip of the iceberg, and you've got all these other things going on that nobody's seeing that are underneath the surface. And what we do is we find out where the real root of the thyroid problem is, and we go after that. And again, within weeks, we have people who are already be able to start reducing their thyroid meds, because now their thyroid is starting to function at a higher level. they're feeling better, their energy's coming back, their sleep is improved, they're waking up with more energy, they have more focus, they start to lose weight, things of this nature. And we're not doing anything extreme like the supplements that we provide. We don't put people on 20 different supplements. We're very much about just focusing on these supplements that people need to be taking, and only those supplements that are needed to get to the place where the body is rebalancing itself and strengthening itself again. We use the acupuncture because it's a powerful, powerful modulator of the neuroendocrine circuits that control all these different hormonal outputs. When you tap into that nervous and endocrine layer using the acupuncture, again, you're talking to and you're communicating with a very intricate and very intelligent system that knows how to balance itself. And the system of acupuncture is very refined in terms of the way that we select the points in a certain way that are designed to have very specific effects on very specific body systems and body functions. So acupuncture is a great adjunct to the nutritional supplements and the dietary changes, which again, the dietary changes for us, we don't put people on these intensive 30, a whole 30 type diet plans where it's like a detox and you're starving yourself and you're only eating broccoli for like a month or something and drinking 5 gallons of water a day. We focus on establishing from the very beginning sustainable habits of eating, that promote an ongoing regenerative and restorative process in the body, so that it's something that you just learn to do and then you keep doing every day. And it's not difficult, and it doesn't require you to stop eating all the foods you love to eat. Will you have to make adjustments to the times of day that you eat, the quantities of food that you eat? And yes, will you have to adjust how much of certain types of foods you eat? Absolutely. I mean, it would be impossible to expect the body to change. Just like if we're looking at a computer and if we're putting data in the computer that is faulty, we're going to get faulty data back out no matter what we do, right? Until we change what we're putting in, we can't expect what's coming out to be any different. And it's the same with our bodies. Until we change what we're putting into our bodies, we can't expect a different result with our bodies. We can't expect less pain, less fatigue, less inflammation, less brain fog, whatever it is that we're experiencing. We can't expect to have less of that while we're doing the exact same things and eating the same things and behaving the same way. It's just not going to happen. But the cool thing is with the therapies that we have, the supplements, the acupuncture, and the mind-body practices that we teach people, and also the diet, what happens is we end up instigating or initiating an accelerated process of change and healing. And that accelerated process is faster, more efficient, and permanent when you compare it to pharmaceutical interventions, which are very forceful and very direct and very powerful. Of course, we know that, but also because of that force and that raw power of those types of approaches, we end up with a lot of side effects, and we end up also potentially down the road ending up causing more problems. So this approach actually clears out the body's own internal signaling pathways and brings the body back into sync with its own innate sense of how to be as healthy and strong and alive and happy as possible, which, trust me, your body never forgets that. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of a big picture overview of how we do this thing at the Axelrod Clinic, and we're really good at it. It works really, really fast, and we would love the opportunity to help you. And if you are interested and this applies to you and you think that you would like to find out more about how we can work together to get you on the right track, to get you feeling amazing, to get rid of all those nagging things that you know are because of your hormones. And a lot of times people and doctors and other practitioners will just kind of brush that off, but you know that it's from your hormones. And bottom line is everything is from hormones, okay? At the end of the day, like I just told you, the body, everything the body does, all of the different changes that the body is going through, whether it's changing from warm to cool, whether it's changing from full to empty, whether it's changing from digesting to not digesting, fighting off an infection to not fighting off an infection, whatever those changes are, guess what causes those changes to happen? Hormones. I mean, from awake to asleep, hormones. From asleep to awake, hormones. From feeling happy and relaxed to feeling tense and anxious, hormones. From feeling tense and anxious back to happy and relaxed, hormones. All of that is being guided by hormones. So that's why we love to work with people on hormonal issues, because it can have such a huge impact on their lives. So I want to encourage you, if you're interested, to go ahead and click the button or the link or whatever it is that's around this video to request a free initial consultation. And that way you can come into the office, meet with us one-on-one. We can talk about your situation. We can hear your story and really get a feel for, how we can help you, and also you can get a feel for our office and the fact that we're super professional and we really care and we really want to help people. And then you can make a decision. We don't have any kind of like high pressure sales process, and we are not one of these like, $10,000 things where you're going to have to give us a bunch of money to work with us. No, we keep it really, really simple, and we make it affordable, and we believe in helping lots of people and not just a few people. So we love what we do. So come on in, talk to us, and let's see if it's a good fit, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching this video, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Later.